Welcome everyone to this special event, Money Delight. So I'm always glad to be here with you, but especially today because the way this all started, just to give you a little bit of context, is that a couple weeks ago, I spontaneously, unexpectedly had this really incredible game or experiment within Soul Oasis. And I called it 12K in 12 days, even though everyone was free to choose any amount that they would like to create. And more than just that, I was really amazed at what started opening up for people in terms of completely shifting their relationship with money. Okay. Because as simple as it sounds, if you don't have a loving and joyful and peaceful relationship with money, then that needs to be addressed, just like it needs to be addressed for anything else. And the fact also is that in the world we currently live in, one of the things that you almost can't escape, that you really have to deal with, is money, right? So even if you were to be able to hide out and not be around other people or something like that, you would still be interacting with money to some degree. So it's one of those things that's relatively unavoidable in the world that we're in today. Now, as always, the number one thing that's completely unavoidable is yourself. So as always, that's the foundation for everything that we're going to be doing, is bringing more awareness of that love that you have for yourself. But when you look at your relationship with money, those are the two key elements, right? Who's in each side of that relationship, you and money. So if you have difficulty loving yourself or loving money or both, then naturally that relationship is going to be rocky. It's going to struggle, and you're going to see that show up in your life. So that's why we're here, because I would love for you to bring delight back into that relationship, bring love and peace and an expansive sense of freedom back into that relationship. And then money shows up for you accordingly. Okay. So there's a lot of things that we're going to dive into today. There are some things I'd like to work with you on, and let's just get started and we'll go from there. So first, go ahead and take a few breaths so that you start to settle into your space, so that you start to settle into your body. Just start to bring more attention right into the center of your breath. And start to bring that attention and your breath into your body. Consciously noticing your breath move through your body. Inviting all of your attention and awareness that's been sort of circulating above you in your mental space. Let your breath start to open up more space in your body as you invite and welcome all of that attention, all of that awareness to start to sink back down into your body. Bringing more of your breath now into the center of your heart and bringing that attention with it. So your breath and your attention right at the center of your breath, bringing that right into the center of your heart. Giving permission for your body to start to relax and open up and receive even more of what is brought with your breath. So all of the nourishment, all of the space, all of the expansiveness that your breath can bring into your body. Let your body relax into receiving that now. Letting your breath move even further into your body, bring your breath all the way down through the bottoms of your feet. And letting your breath, as it circulates through your body, soothe you, nourish you, relax you, and bring attention and awareness and space to all of the places that need it now. So anywhere in your body that feels constricted, let your breath move into that space. And letting your breath start to anchor your attention and your awareness deeper into your body. And now from here, you can start to be curious about your exact experience right now in this moment. So with your breath and your attention and your awareness anchored deep into your body, expanding out within your body, sort of opening and unfolding, let yourself notice and just observe whatever sensations you notice in your body, whatever energy and emotions you notice coming through your experience, whatever thoughts are passing through your attention. Just let yourself meet all of that with a sense of curiosity, without looking to categorize any of it, without expecting to decide that any of it is right or wrong. Just letting yourself notice that this is what happens to be your experience in this moment. And as you get closer to whatever that experience contains, going right to the center of it, bring more curiosity with the question, I wonder if love is present. So right in the midst, right at the center of whatever you happen to be experiencing right now, whatever thoughts and feelings and sensations are there, whether they're ones that you've been accustomed to categorizing as right or wrong or good or bad, just notice what happens when you wonder, I wonder if love is present. I wonder if love is present right here at the center of this experience. I wonder what love would reveal to me right in this moment if I was curious and receptive to receive it. I wonder what love is offering right in the center of this experience that I had overlooked. I wonder what love is inviting me into that I just hadn't been aware of before. So take 3 nice, deep, gentle breaths right into the center of your heart. And let's allow that to continue to unfold in the background as we move forward. But I would love for you to leave in place this light curiosity about both the nature of your own experience as compared to what you might have assumed about it before, how you might have judged it before, and this curiosity about the presence of love. And not just the presence of love, but what love is offering you that you might not have been aware of. All right, good. And just one more breath right through to the bottom of your feet. And just rub your hands together. Great. So obviously at the center of all of this is love. And as always, in case you're new here, or we always need to be reminded, when I say love, I'm not talking about the emotion love that has an opposite. Whenever I use the word love, I'm referring to an unconditional, boundless, all-embracing, all-encompassing energy that has no opposite. Okay. So give me 1 second. All right. So in terms of money, this came up and it sort of, like I said, it spontaneously happened in Soul Oasis, because within Soul Oasis and as well with a number of private clients, I was noticing that this topic was coming up. And it was coming up regardless of what somebody's financial situation was, right? So I was seeing this come up in people that were maybe in a financial challenge, but also in people who weren't in a financial challenge. And so it's like there's just a real readiness in this moment for people to shift this relationship with money. And this is why it's so important to look at it. It's because up until now on this planet, the relationship with money has not been loving, right? It's been something that people will lie, cheat, steal, kill each other over, okay? And if you're here, chances are you are loving, compassionate, and also very sensitive, and you would rather not be in that kind of an energy, right? You're not interested in the violence and the fighting and the conflict and, killing somebody over it at all. So what I'm offering to you is that money takes on the energy that you bring to it. So money inherently does not, even though it's been very much saddled with that energy on this planet, because that's how people have treated it, you can treat it a new way, right? You don't have to avoid money or have this conflicted relationship with it, even if there's a lot of it around you, just because of what's been sort of put on money over the years. Okay, so take a nice deep breath into that. See if you notice ways that you have judgments about money and a tendency to reject money based on the energy that you've believed comes with money inherently. And what if that's just not the case? What if it's entirely up to you whether you bring love into this relationship or not? So the same as, lots of you have already done a great deal of exploration in your relationship with yourself, right? And one second. And you're well aware that you get to shift that relationship, right? So no matter what anyone else thought of you in the past, called you in the past, treated you like in the past, right? None of that has to dictate what your relationship with yourself is now. None of that has to prevent you from loving yourself now. So it's exactly the same with money. You can step into a really loving relationship with money, regardless of how it's been treated in the past, regardless of how you've been taught to treat it, or even, like I said, the energy that you've just sort of picked up on because that's how it's been treated in the past. Okay. And part of why this is so important is that healing this relationship with money is how we move forward. If some of you have sort of dreamt of living in a world where we don't even need money and don't even use money, this is what takes us there. Okay. Money does not get to just disappear after being misunderstood and mistreated and misused. The relationship gets healed and then money becomes unnecessary. Okay. So it's not something to just skip over. The same as, you know, on an individual level, you've probably had experiences in your own life where there was something you felt in conflict with, you wished it would just go away. And meanwhile, it was not going to go away. It wasn't going to go away until you came to peace with it. Right? That what felt like a difficulty in your life wasn't going to become unnecessary until you healed that relationship with it. So it's the exact same on a collective level with money. Okay, so that's another reason why this is really important. It's all, so that's on a bigger scale. It's important to you individually for the same reason, because you can't really have an experience of living love every day if you are every day dealing with money and not having a relationship of love with it, right? That's going to interfere with your general capacity to be moving through life in a loving and peaceful way. And then on top of that, because money is what we exchange currently in the world, it's going to limit your ability to have the experiences that you would like to have if the relationship with money isn't harmonious, and that sort of keeps money away to a degree. Okay. Or even if you have plenty of it around you, but you feel conflicted about this relationship with it, right? You don't feel good about using it or good about spending it or good about your certainty that you know that you can invite more in at any time. Okay. So that's one thing I'd like us to go ahead and address right away, is this idea of how you're really interacting with money when you're inviting it in. So most people believe that, of course, I'm inviting it in. I'm all the time saying like, of course, yes, I need money for this, I need money for that, on and on and on. But we've got to look at the level of love and openness and joy and freedom in that invitation versus the amount of heaviness and burden and expectation and responsibility. And so here's what I mean by that. If you invited someone over to your house, and then once they're at the front door, before, you open the door and you go, oh my God, you're finally here. Finally, you were supposed to be here. You were supposed to be here. Now that you're here, get inside right now, right this minute, because you need to come in. You need to fix my life. You need to make me happy. You need to do this, 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 and this, right? And there's this laundry list of demands and expectations. Suddenly that person is going to kind of hesitate on your threshold, right? That doesn't sound like something you necessarily want to step into. And it's the same with money. So I see people all the time saying they're inviting money in, and what they're really doing is demanding that money come and do things that money isn't really responsible for. Okay, so like your happiness, for example, you're responsible for that. So Imagine the opposite though, if you invite someone and while they're at the door, once you open the door, you say, I am so glad to see you. I love you so much. Come on in. We're going to have such a great time. There are all these things I want to do together with you. We're going to have so much fun, and you let the person know all of these things that you have in mind. It's the same with money. So take a deep breath into that. Feel into where you have been burdening money with expectation, with the heaviness of things that aren't really money's responsibility. And what happens if you allow that to start to open up? So as you sit there with this sense of the demands that you've made in the past and the heaviness that's there, just imagine just the same as an unexpected light breeze comes through the trees. Just let this breeze of love start to come through that space. For it to start to open up so that you start to recognize the other possibilities that are available to you, the other ways that you can interact with money. All of the joy and play and delight that you can engage with money into. So just like what, on the page where you have the access to this, right? The question is your relationship with money as wonderful feeling to you as that feeling of holding hands with your kindergarten best friend, skipping through the playground, right? Looking for what you're going to go enjoy next. So let that be sort of your standard to ask yourself and to have curiosity about your relationship with money. And something that you can do right away that's incredibly simple is just anytime you're, hang on one second. All right. Anytime your attention is on money, just check to see, do you feel terrific or do you feel something else besides that, right? Do you feel this light, open, joyful, free, loving feeling, or do you feel something besides that? So as always, when you're looking for that, it's not that we're making whatever other way you could possibly feel wrong, okay? And making the joyful, open, loving feeling right. And so if you catch yourself feeling sadness, uncertainty, powerlessness, frustration, fear, worry, any of those things, it's not, oh, that's the wrong thing. That's not what I'm supposed to feel. And trying to reject that and feel the love and joy instead, right? As always, the key to opening up a deeper experience of peace and love and joy is right through the center of whatever you're already feeling. All of those other feelings that you might have about money in any moment, the frustration, the worry, the uncertainty, the feeling you need to hold on to it, any of those things are all just your invitation into a deeper experience of peace and love and joy by bringing your attention to the center of those feelings, letting yourself experience them fully, and letting the love and the peace that's already present at the center of absolutely any experience reveal itself to you. Okay. So I want to play around with this a bit. One of the first things that you run into in the 12K in 12 days experience that I just went in through with Soul Oasis. And I've actually just added this. So for people who are here, who are already Soul Oasis members, when you go into that, now that I've organized it in your course portal, there is a money belief inventory. Okay. And so immediately, this is its own exercise. It's not, obviously it's to take inventory of your beliefs. But what you can do right away is turn all of the ones that are heated for you into questions and notice what you feel. So I'm going to give you an example. So the instructions on the inventory are to rate each statement from 1 to 10, 1 being completely disagree, 10 being completely agree. All right. So just in your mind, or if you have something to write with, you can write it down. See where you stand for each of these statements. So 1 being you totally disagree, 10 being you completely agree. The first one is, I always have more money than I need for whatever I would like to experience. The next one, dealing with money feels easy and fun to me. Money and spirituality don't really go together. I'm not sure how to manage money. It's easier to ignore money as much as possible. Thinking about money feels overwhelming to me. It's difficult for me to ask for money. I feel guilty about money. I feel like I need to hold on to money. I wish we lived in a world that didn't use money. It's hard for me to feel deserving of wealth. Money is my friend. I have to do something I don't want to do to make money. Having more money might make me greedy. It's hard to have a joyful, loving relationship with money. So just in those examples, if you noticed that there was one that you had sort of an extreme rating for, if you're willing to start to work through that to help give everybody an example of what I'm talking about, you can raise your hand. Okay, let's see. I've got, all right. Melissa, go ahead. So which one really struck you?
That I have to do something that I don't want to do for money.
Okay, so, and this is what I'm inviting all of you to do with any of these beliefs that you had a strong reaction to. So we're going to turn that into a question. Okay, what if you received money without doing anything you didn't want to do?
I feel a lot of fear and judgment.
Exactly. And this is where and I know that you immediately felt into that, and that's why you're noticing it. So let that start to come up. But for everybody playing along and doing this, or doing it more on your own later, if it's a belief that you intellectually recognize as this is not helpful for me, your initial reaction might be, when you turn it into a question like that, of like, oh yeah, that's great, that's how it should be. But meanwhile, you wouldn't be holding that belief if there wasn't some stored energy that was conflicting with that. Okay. So when you ask yourself the question that you turn that statement around into, the purpose of that is to really tune into your body and start to get in touch with the energy that's anchoring that belief in place. Okay. So you see what I mean, Melissa? So you felt right away that if you were experiencing the opposite of that, if you were just easily receiving money without doing things that you didn't want to do, now you're noticing this fear and discomfort there. So bring your breath and your attention into the center of that feeling. And without making that feeling wrong or assuming that it's something we need to get rid of, just bring curiosity to it. Let your breath and your attention bring more space into that feeling so that everywhere that it feels dense and solid now, it starts to have more spaciousness in it. And then let yourself start to bring a curiosity so that you can wonder if there's love present in your experience, even as you notice the presence of this fear. And so what do you notice now?
So it's not intense anymore.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's not intense
Oh,
anymore.
not as intense. Exactly.
Kind of like it's just not there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now I want to ask that question again. What if you did receive money easily without doing things that you don't want to do?
That would be fabulous.
All right. So are you willing to sort of step over that threshold into that experience?
Yes.
Okay. So for that to be the case, how would you, like, as you step into that, tell me what the relationship between you and money feels like in that place?
It feels open. Um, it feels fun. I've got a smile on my
Exactly.
and I haven't had that for a long time regarding money. Um, yeah, it's just more open to see what it could do.
Exactly. Exactly. Because that's the thing, money, especially since money on this planet has been treated the way it's been treated, right? That's not how anything or anybody wants to be treated, right? As compared to entering this collaborative, really fun partnership with money where there's a synergy to that relationship, right? Where there are things that that money can't do on its own, right? So money on its own can't go invent a new technology that's going to change the world, right? And help clean up the planet or make sure that people all have clean water or anything like that, right? A person has to receive an idea like that and be willing to put it into place. But at the same time, putting that idea into place without any money to fund the production of something, you see how there's this collaboration that has to happen. So go ahead and ask yourself in this moment, what are some of the amazing experiences that money needs you for money to get to experience?
Can you ask that again?
Yeah, no problem. What are some of the things that money, the fun, amazing experiences that money needs to collaborate with you in order to get to experience?
It's coming up a means and an ability to do that. A way.
Yeah. So, and for everyone, I invite you to start playing with these kind of questions, right? Where rather than only thinking in terms of, because again, a relationship goes both ways, right? So there are things that money brings to you, and there are things that you bring to money. So make sure that you're looking at both sides of that, of what it is, all of the love, and like I said, the experiences that that you have to steward money into, that money doesn't just go do on its own. Okay. and at the same time letting yourself receive the things that money brings to you. Okay. And also what you just did is exactly what you continue to do whenever money comes into your attention, right? So what you said earlier of you haven't had a smile on your face in a long time when thinking about money, that kind of tells you what the state of the relationship has been, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever you think about money, again, when something besides that love and joy and a smile on your face and a warmth in your heart is what's there, again, we don't make the worry and frustration and all of that wrong. It's okay, interesting. And you let that experience open up completely, like you just did, until you're back to the love and you let that expand. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for demonstrating that for everybody. All right, let's see. I have a hand that's just this phone number. It looks like you have to unmute on your end, but I've given you permission to unmute.
Rebecca, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hi, it's Wilma. I raised my hand, but the question, the thing that hit me was the spirituality and money, which I think has something to do with my staunch Catholicism on my mother's side and my father's side. But I actually felt, felt a clearing while I was going through this. And at the beginning of the call, I was, I think, 8 minutes late because I couldn't get on I couldn't get on the Zoom page, so I had to phone in and I missed the beginning of it. But towards the end of the meditation, when you asked the question and I asked myself, I actually saw like a celebration, like I could see, like, you know, when confetti blows up in the air. So I think I got a clearing at the very beginning, even without being present.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. But now, when you were asking these questions, I had a big aha moment because I felt like this is interesting because now I feel I have a place for money and it's in my bank account. It needs to be in my bank account. So I'm so grateful for walking through that one example because that's the first thing that came to my mind is I now have a reason for money to come to me because it needs me to put it in my account.
Exactly. And
I'm
so I
so
want to
grateful.
dive a little deeper with that, right? Which is
Okay.
and so everybody play along with this. What is the vibe, so to speak, in your bank account, right? So is it sort of like this dusty, lonely place with cobwebs where if one little bit of money comes in, you then lock the door and don't let it go back out and it just has to sit there all by itself, right? Or is it, like you said, is it a party? Is it alive and thriving? Is the environment of your bank account something where everybody's invited, right? Where more money is invited in, everybody's having a good time. Some money goes out to go get some more, snacks, and some new money comes in, and boom, 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 boom. It's a hopping, happening, happy kind of place, right? So go ahead and feel into that. Check and see.
No, as soon as you answered the question, and when you're talking about the dusty, cobwebby thing, I was going to say that's exactly how it would have felt before.
Yeah,
we did this little not an episode, whatever the proper word is, exercise. Sorry. But because I saw that celebration at the beginning, like where I saw that, I have a very vivid imagination. So when I saw the almost like the confetti going out, and I heard the word celebration, I realized I'm stepping into a celebration of my money. And then when we were talking about the bank account, up till now, I want my money to go in. I would have wanted my money to go in and stay instead of it having to go in and then. It seemed I've been living in barely enough to make some very basic essentials, and so my fear has always been I have to have. But now, right now, in this second, I realize I don't need the money to come and stay in my bank account. I need the money to come and flow. So it comes in, some goes out, and then more than one out comes back in.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is
Because
a really
again, if
good
we,
energy to be in. Yeah.
exactly. And if we continue sort of that party analogy, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you've just locked the door and thrown away the key in your bank account, well, then how do maybe some of those monies don't have their phone charged? Maybe to invite more in, they have to physically go out to like knock on doors and be like, oh, hey, I'm at this great party, come back with me, right? So it's that energy of celebration. So I want to just touch quickly on what you said, resolve for you, but I want to let it come out into the open for the group as well, is that you had a strong reaction initially on money being at odds with spirituality, right? So let me ask the
Yes,
question,
absolutely.
and this will bring it deeper for you, but bring it out into the whole group as well. What if money is spiritual? See how that feels in your body.
I think that's why I got such a charge on it, is that for me, in my heart, money is spiritual. But my entire life experience, and I'm in
Exactly. You've
I'm,
accumulated a lot of
yes,
ideas to the
yes,
contrary, and most
with,
people have, right? That's why
yeah,
I addressed that from the very start of the call, is that, you guys are compassionate, you guys are loving, you guys are sensitive, right? So all of the violence and mayhem that's been associated with money over the centuries on this planet, there's of course a tendency to be like, I don't know if that's where I want to be. Okay. So let's dive into the question about love, right? So as far
mhm,
as I know, everybody, if you're in my orbit at all, it's a priority to you to bring love to every part of your life,
absolutely, yeah.
right? So, and obviously money's part of that. Good. So thank you for bringing that out into the open for everyone.
Well, I feel like I've just released a lifetime of my parents and my grandparents' belief about money being a sin, and if you have more money than you need, not it's not
Yeah.
God doesn't want
Can
you
I
to have
ask
more
you a
money. So
question?
sure,
Is a tree sinning when it's receiving more sunlight and water than it possibly needs?
no, absolutely not.
That's your benchmark to use for your relationship with money too. Okay.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope everybody else got as much out of this as I did, because it feels like whatever I thought was blocked before is cleared now. So thank you, thank you,
Well,
thank you.
this is only the tip of the iceberg. We're barely getting started. Okay.
I'll mute myself again. Thank you, Rebecca.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Let's see. Levi, hi.
Hi,
What did
Rebecca.
you react to strongly?
A number of them.
Okay.
One, I think the first one, dealing with money feels easy and fun to me. That was like a strong disagree.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. So let's turn it into a question and
right.
feel what's going on in your body, what's been stored up. Okay. So what if dealing with money feels easy and fun to you?
Oh, wow. That would be wonderful.
Okay. So
Yeah,
again, just breathe and bring your attention into your body, because there's some conflicting feelings stored up there,
right,
which is why you strongly disagree, even though, of course, on the surface, that would feel great.
right.
So I'll ask another question, and all of you can play with this too, with all of these beliefs that you've ranked now. What's the worst thing that happens if dealing with money feels easy and fun to you?
Fear. Fear something bad might happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So feel into that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let yourself experience it fully. Let it unfold itself in front of you.
Yeah.
So again, what if dealing with money feels easy and fun?
Oh, wow. I'd be happy.
Okay. So are you willing to go ahead and step into that?
Yes. Yeah.
What if from now on dealing with money feels easy and fun for you?
Oh, wow. That'd be wonderful.
And the minute it doesn't, that's okay too. So let's say you decide now, hey, I'm taking on dealing with money is easy and fun for me, right? This is it. Now, let's say a couple hours from now, you open up a bill or something and you get a sense of something other than easy and fun, right?
Right, right.
That does not mean you've taken a wrong turn. That doesn't mean something's gone wrong. That's just your habitual thought process that's been in place. That's where you now go, ooh, what does this feel like? What is this from my past that's ready to come in front of me and unravel? Okay, so you let that foundation be that it's easy and fun. And anything that seems to be the opposite of that, you don't try to reject it or separate yourself from it. You invite that into this space of easy and fun energy and just let it be harmonized.
Yeah. Yeah, feels good.
Good, terrific. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
All right, let's see. Nancy, go ahead.
Okay, mine was I always have more than enough, which I disagree with.
Okay.
However, recently I ended up with a little bit more than I normally have, and I noticed on my American Express that I was spending more zeros. That bothered me.
Okay. Well, it bothers you because you think you don't have enough. So even though you got more than usual, if your fundamental belief and what's held in your energy system is I don't have enough, then you're going to act accordingly, regardless of what, the actual situation is.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So what if you do always have more than enough?
Okay, that brings up a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So just feel into that. Let it all move freely. Let it do whatever it needs to do. All of that energy that's showing up now.
Because it's okay if trees have more sunlight and more water than enough, but I'm not a tree.
What makes you so different from a tree?
I'm just saying that's what I'm. It's my beliefs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the difference between you and the tree is not ashamed of receiving more sunlight and more rain than what it needs. The tree has no thoughts about that.
Exactly.
So are you willing to let a tree teach you its ways? Are you willing to live in the same kind of harmony that a tree lives in?
Why not? I guess so. Let's try it. I'll go for it.
Okay, so go ahead and step into that right now then.
Okay.
I do always have more than enough.
I do always have more than enough. There's still a disbelief, a little disbelief.
That's fine. That's fine. That's great. So the part of you that disbelieves that has reasons for doing that. So you're just going to invite that part of you into the space too. So invite the disbelief into this foundation of, I always have more than enough. I do always have more than enough.
Okay.
And what happens when those two meet and interact?
There comes into this little teeny thing of, am I doing this right? I got to do this right. Of course, I don't know what it's right, but. I'm always
So-
searching for doing what is right.
Exactly. And
noticed
so
that
this is
this morning.
why I emphasized at the beginning of the call that this relationship is, I mean, this is such an enormous, enormous thing for all of you guys to prioritize, because it brings your attention to both the one thing that you can never get away from, which is yourself, and the
Mhm.
one thing that you can almost never get away from, which is money. So in order for this relationship to be happy and harmonious, you have to love yourself, you have to love money, you have to let love flow back and forth between the two. So if you loved yourself completely, would it be okay if you get it right or get it wrong?
In other words, would it be okay if I did it wrong?
Yeah.
Woo! Well, it's a choice. Okay, I'll try doing it wrong. I mean, I've been searching for right, so the opposite would be searching for wrong. Or what if I just never searched at all and just went and had a lot of leaves like a tree?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just take the simple way instead of the roundabout all over the place.
Yeah. So how does that feel now when you feel into what if you do always have more than enough?
That feels very interesting. It's like an adventure. I'm ready for it.
Listen, I know you're always up for adventure. Do you mind if I tell everyone that you turned up for an ocean-based retreat and told me on the first day, I don't know what to do with a snorkel?
Yeah, I didn't know anything. Yeah, that's true.
So
I
it
didn't know
was
anything.
it was perfect. It was so beautiful. I was like, I so respect your courage and your willingness for a new adventure. We all just got in the ocean for an impromptu snorkel lesson before the week commenced, which was going to involve a great deal of being far offshore and very much using snorkels.
Right, very much using snorkels. Right.
Exactly. Great. Thanks, Nancy.
Yep.
All right, good. All right, so you see there's so much here. There's obviously way more than we can handle in one session. But I wanted to start to help you crack some of these things open and start to encourage you to continue this on your own, right? Because it is so important. If you are not living in this loving relationship with money, then you're just experiencing less love in your life than what you really could be, right? Especially since, again, dealing with money is so prevalent. So to continue with this, the number one thing you can do for yourself that I encourage all of you toward is coming into Soul Oasis. That is the top number one thing you can do, because it's an incredibly supportive container. You have unlimited access to what I call the transformation vault, which is essentially my entire body of work over the past 10 years on every topic you can imagine. All right. So that in itself is invaluable, or at least worth many times what the price of admission for Soul Oasis is. And that's before we get to the live elements, the continued ongoing live interaction, the sessions that we have, the things like the 12K in 12 days, which no one in Soul Oasis even knew was going to happen. That wasn't even part of what they signed on for. So basically Soul Oasis is the container that when new things are coming to me, that's where I bring them, right? There's an incredibly beautiful community there. We have a group that everybody gets to interact in, and it's just the most supportive, nourishing experience you could have for receiving all the tools that you need to create and live the life that your soul truly craves, and make life be something that feels like your soul playground, right? That's what it's all about in there. So no topic is off limits because it's all about bringing love into every aspect of your life. So, but I do have a backup plan for you. If for some reason, you know, you're not ready for Soul Oasis yet, or something like that, whatever that may be. Which, by the way, if you're uncertain about Soul Oasis for any financial reason, there is also a split payment plan. So you can break that up and make it easier and more accessible for you. But your backup plan is, I have taken all of the materials that I gave to Soul Oasis in order to walk them through this 12K in 12 days experience and put them into their own course. So you can get access to everything that brings you through that process of shifting your relationship with money and creating whatever amount you choose. It doesn't have to be $12,000 in the 12 days. People chose amounts before anywhere from $5,000 to $120,000. So whatever works for you. Don't get stuck on the amount, right? That's just so it has a catchy title. And use those materials, use those resources to start healing this relationship with money and bringing more love to your relationship with yourself as well, so that there's just love going back and forth in every direction. And then that will move you forward, and you can step into whatever you would like to experience from there. So go ahead and take a nice deep breath. And bring your attention to that, right? Bring your attention to what you would really love to be experiencing. So if you were feeling 100% love with yourself, 100% love with money, that you're feeling that that relationship is peaceful, is loving, is harmonious, is joyful. Go ahead and feel into that right now. And where does that take you? What do you do next? Where do you go next? What do you create next? What are all of the things that have just been waiting for this relationship to be loving and peaceful and harmonious, for these things to be able to come through you into your experience? Let them start to get your attention now. There are all kinds of things that have just sort of been waiting for the opportunity to come through you into your experience, into your life, and into the world. And they need your attention. They need your agreement. And to the degree that they involve money coming to you, money flowing through you, you receiving money, you spending money, they've also had to wait for this relationship that you have with money to be a harmonious, welcoming space. And maybe some of them you're already well aware of, but you've had a million reasons why you think that they're not possible, or that you can't really do them right now, or that they will happen someday. So if these were things that you believed were going to happen someday, I'd like you to open up your calendar and send me in the chat a screenshot of where on your calendar it says someday. It does not exist. It does not exist. So are you willing to allow these things to be birthed through you by you being willing to bring more love to yourself, to money, and to your relationship with money? What are all of the things that you've put off because either you think they would require too much money, or that you have unconscious resistance to the money that these things would create for you. I'm really seeing it show up on both sides, that these experiences that you have set aside involve money on both ends. They involve this full flow of money, including money that would be raining down on you. That there's uncertainty about you receiving because this relationship has not been open and loving and peaceful and harmonious. Good. So let me also, I just noticed, Jan, your hand icon, it blends into the color of your wall. So I hadn't noticed that you had your hands up. Go ahead.
All right, so it's both of us, but I want to say something first.
Yeah.
So I did the 12 days, the 12 days for $12,000, and really believed at the beginning, all right, that's great, maybe I'll get a little something. And in doing all the homework and answering the questions and all the processes, it was amazing for me, because first what happened was I just felt better about me. That was the very first thing that happened. I just felt like, oh, I'm happier. I'm just like noticing at work, I'm happier. I'm, having more ease and everything. And then I suddenly started seeing money show up in different ways. So a bunch of money showed up in my 401k that wasn't there before. My commission was much huger than I had ever expected. And I even had, at one point, Rebecca told me, go ask for a raise for $12,000. And I said, okay. I mean, in my head, I said out loud, okay. In my head, I said, no way.
Well, I didn't say that you had to. I was just playing with possibilities.
I know. And I was like, nope, not doing it. So turns out that I had my yearly evaluation this past week, right after it ended. And I was having a conversation with my manager, and we were just talking about things and raises, and I had just I got a raise this week, but it was, it was decent, but it wasn't the raise, like the $12,000 raise. So we started talking about the fact that I am paid lower than other people on the team, just because I started lower and it's hard to move up. And he suddenly said, because there's this possibility of a promotion, which would come with more money. And we had talked about that. And then he said, maybe there's a way just to get you more money. And he goes, let me talk to my boss and see if there's some way. He goes, because I told him a story of actually they had done that in 2020 where I got an extra $12,000 actually. And so I told him that story, and I said, even with that, I'm still, lower than everyone else on the team. He goes, you are, because he sees everybody's numbers. And he said, well, let me just talk to our boss and see if there's something we can do that maybe isn't including a promotion, because promotions are harder to get just because they have to be opened up, etc. So maybe there's some possibility. So that was just like amazing that, because I didn't expect to ever say, even after the 12 days, give me more money. He said, he's my age. And he said, at our age, we don't care so much about the title as we just want more money. And I said, yeah, that's what I want. I just want more money. So he said, well, let me see. Maybe there's some possibility to do it a different way. And that was never, ever open to me. Never. It wasn't even like, mostly I do those evaluations and I say a little something and then I stop because, it's too much and I don't want people to think like I'm just greedy, etc. But this time it was just like, oh, I'm just having a conversation. We're having a great conversation. That was never even my thought that there was some other way to do it. He's not sure there is, but he's going to try. And that was really, really unique.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's where, it's not, so for everybody, whether you're coming into Soul Oasis or, just working with those 12K and 12 days materials, it's really not restricted to 12 days, right? I set it up as 12 days to sort of trigger people, quite frankly, right? To sort of give you, because a lot of people, a lot came up for them immediately just at that idea. Even like you said, Jan, that at the beginning of the 12 days, you were like, there's nowhere $12,000 would come from in that period of time. And you ended up far exceeding it, like you said.
Yes.
And, you know, and most importantly, changing fundamentally your
Yes.
relationship with money going forward.
Yeah, and one of the things I had said to Rebecca on the last day, I'd written her a note. I said that, you know, what I notice is that, you know, I have those days where I wake up in a crappy mood and I think, it didn't really work. It's never going to work. I'm going to, you know, I still have that issue with money. And all of a sudden something happens, like this conversation with my boss, that proves to me over and over and over again that, no, maybe I'm wrong, that it definitely, something happened in those 12 days. And, you know, not necessarily because I thought, oh, this is going to be so easy, because I thought it was going to be really hard. But it was great. And it was not easy. There was still plenty of things that I was challenged with, but it was the ability to go through all that and look at it and get the support that provided me a just totally different experience, even to the fact of, I mostly don't talk about this to other people. And I was talking to a friend yesterday and I was telling her this. And at first she was like poo-pooing me, and yet that usually stops me. And I just kept going. And she was like, at the end, she goes, wow, lots of really good things are happening for you, aren't they? And, you know, and I said, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, so I told her about what's available and stuff. And, you know, she's doing what she's doing with it. But it was just amazing for me just to be able to be more open, inviting, and feeling good about it. Like I feel good about what happened, and I want to share it. I want my friends to have the same thing, to have that, and my husband to have the same thing, to have that ability to get to that point of feeling about myself and money. You know, so like that relationship, money itself. I saw so many things in the different exercises that just there's an ease that, you know, I can even see now, like when I have that initial reaction of, ooh, that's a lot. I'm like, all right, well, how can I make that fun? And that really been great.
I get to be an adjacent beneficiary.
You get to what? What'd you say?
I get to be an adjacent beneficiary.
So what about you being your own beneficiary as well?
Oh, sure. I mean, well, this is interesting. This is what was happening. I've been thinking, you know, I've been watching Jan and you know, I absorb some of the things that are, of course, happening. So, but I had something this morning came to me, and it's related to what we're talking about. I was thinking about, well, what if there is no loss necessarily? If money ebbs and flows and it is love, then why get stressed out over loss? Because it's coming back anyway. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So this was something that during the course of the 12 days, it was one of the things that I mentioned to the group at the time, right? Is this concept that we have about wasting money, right? That there's no such thing. And I gave an example of something I had spent money on recently that then didn't do what I had purchased it to do, right? But that didn't mean I had wasted money, because the money is still alive and well. You know, the money is somewhere doing something. Okay. So the people that I had purchased these things from are now, that money is with them, doing something with them, and wherever it's going to go from there. So yeah, it's exactly the same. It's not really wasted or lost.
yeah, if money is always flowing or raining down, then there is more than enough. There is no lack. It's just kind of that feeling is, or perception is starting to penetrate me, which is great.
Exactly. There's money all over the place, you know, and I also was raised with the idea that it's not, you know, as so many of us were, but I have experienced the opposite of that. And, you know, that's in, I've archived all of the videos that that I made during that process. So they're all archived in Soul Oasis that, you know, you can go back to those that, and some of you know some of the things that I've experienced, but yeah, complete, you know, you don't have to keep living in the same world that you think you've been in. Great, beautiful. Well, thanks for sharing, you two.
Thank you.
Well,
All right, let's see. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hi.
Hi. So, yeah, I just started the 12K in 12 days yesterday, official day. And then today I saw that I missed some parts that I should have done yesterday. So it was like, oh, I screwed up already. So that came up, but then I was doing the questions and it was like money and spirituality don't mix. And I know in the past I've worked on money stuff and it's like money, what keeps coming up is money is the root of all evil. You know, so I don't know if there's more of that. It's not even the right quote, it's the love of money. But you know, that's how it was interpreted.
But even that is the question of, you know, either you're here because it's a priority to you to love and to experience love in your life or not, right?
Mhm.
So how could loving anything be evil?
Oh, I know. Logically,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
It's really
So,
dumb.
but let's go ahead and bring attention into where you feel that in your body. Because there's going to be a heaviness to that, right? So whenever something is not in alignment with the truth of your being, you're going to feel it and experience it as heavy or as constricted. So if I were to ask you, what if money is spiritual? What
Yeah,
if it's a beautiful thing to love money and to let money love you and to be in this loving relationship with money? Just notice where you feel that and just bring your breath and attention into it. Let yourself go right into the center of that energy. Bringing your breath, bringing your attention, bringing curiosity. And what do you notice?
It's pretty heavy in the stomach,
Mm-hmm.
but it's lightening up as I'm paying attention to it.
Yeah, exactly. So you just keep bringing more breath and more attention into the center of it and continuing to be curious to let it reveal to you what's really there. Letting yourself be curious about the presence of love.
A lot of anger.
Yeah, there you go. So the same with the anger, bring your breath and your attention right into the center of it. Let yourself experience it fully and give it space to expand. And again, just being curious about wondering if love is also present. And what do you notice?
It's kind of like waves are passing through.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So stay with those, right? Because it sounds like you've really kind of hit a root here. So stay with those, let the waves just pass along as they do, and just watch as that softens and unravels, and then just be curious about what that shows you next, right? And the truth that it shows you about money. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Right, you're welcome. All right. So, and that's the thing. Also a reminder for everybody, again, whether we're talking about within Soul Oasis or even just that 12K in 12 days, there's so much to work with. There's so many exercises, and you really can't get it wrong. I've loaded it all up with so much because any one thing, I mean, you can see just this beliefs inventory that you could treat as a throwaway thing of, oh, I'm supposed to fill this out before I start the thing. That alone can completely transform your relationship with money when you actually address all of these beliefs and let them all, you know, completely unravel. And that's going to shift so many things. So any one of the things that are available to you are incredibly powerful. So don't over concern yourself with, you know, how you do it, what sequence it's in, any of that. It's all there for you because it all has the potential to completely change things for you. And I see people, of course, run into that in Soul Oasis again with, like I said, the transformation vault is essentially my entire body of work over the past 10 years. There's so much to work with in there. There's so much to play with, and it's all incredibly powerful. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. You just go in and with a spirit of curiosity and playfulness, you know, see what calls to you and watch what unfolds. Okay, Mark, go ahead.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. I gifted myself a Soul Oasis about a year and a half ago. I don't know the exact time. And as I dove into it, continued to work with Rebecca, we met 10 plus years ago. And I started to realize how priceless everything you offer is, and how Soul Oasis is almost a microcosm for those of us who've been members of expanding into infinity, because not only do we get to play in the vault, you just keep expanding and adding, just like infinity. And the 12 and 12 was extremely powerful for me because it got me into my heart to a greater degree. And at the same time as I was doing the Soul Oasis, I was reading Bringing Seeking to Completion and Allow Love to Be. And I found a neat feature on the Kindle Fire tablet is that I could do text to speech, and I could listen to everything as well as reading it. And the materials that you offer, I just want to share with the group that the materials, every single sentence of those books, which are free and you freely give on your Rebecca Quave website as under free resources, they're just so powerful, and you can ponder literally every sentence of the materials and the other written books that you've shared. And the presence and the gift of presence, the oneness, which is love, being able to go back today I had an extremely powerful, during the morning exercises, of literally going back to my point of birth, which had been I've talked about it in some of the Zoom meetings, and that's another wonderful thing about Soul Oasis. We have monthly Zoom meetings, and we have tea time, and they're a wonderful experience, especially because the group is so loving and supportive, and we enjoy watching each other just expand into that love. And I just can't stress how priceless everything that you're offering is.
Well,
And
I so appreciate that, Mark. I mean, and just so everyone knows, I had not asked for
No.
anyone to speak up about Soul Oasis, but I certainly appreciate that it's as close to your heart as it is to mine, because I certainly love bringing that to you guys, so that you love being there and love experiencing it is incredibly beautiful. So I appreciate your spontaneity in bringing that forward, and I love that you're enjoying it so much. And that's part of what it is too. Everybody who's in Soul Oasis is such a beautiful soul, and everyone comes together in an incredible way. So it's a great place to be. If you're not there yet, you will certainly be welcomed with open arms and so much love. So I'm going to guide us through a final exercise for today. So again, thanks, Mark. Okay, let's see. All right, good. So everybody all together, just take a nice deep breath. And I'm remembering now, this has been a while back. It just sort of happened spontaneously one time in one of our live interactions in Soul Oasis, that I sang a little song that had come to me, and I'll tell you the lyrics of it and see what this brings up in you. And so my little made up lyrics, you can put these to any tune you want, are: I love money and money loves me. It always flows so easily. Every day, in every way, money just loves to be here for me. To dance and play and feel so free. I love money and money loves me. So just see what that brings into your attention. Does that feel natural and comfortable to you? To feel that money is always in this expansive interaction with you, that it's always there for you, that it's there to dance and play through this life with you? Do you feel that you love money and money loves you? Would you be willing to sing a silly little song about it that puts a smile on your face and makes you giggle and lets your heart expand? What would it be like? Again, give yourself a little preview of what that feels like, of how that life unfolds for you when that's your relationship with money. To dance and play and feel so free. Because you already know what's available for you. So let yourself connect with that. That's another, again, of the many, many things we explore in Soul Oasis, we also dive into strengthening and honing your intuition so that you're able to recognize what your own guidance is and follow it. So just let yourself connect with that now. What is ready for you? What would you guide yourself into when you're living in that healed, loving, joyful relationship with money, when you're living in that money delight? So just feel into that again. I love money and money loves me. Jan already knows it. She's singing along. It always flows so easily every day in every way. Money just loves to be here for me, to dance and play and feel so free. I love money and money loves me. Or you can make up your own tune, whatever you want. So see how it feels if you're willing to let yourself step into that energy. If I'm willing to sing that to all of you guys, then surely you can step up and be willing to at least let yourself feel it. Because life is too short and too precious and too beautiful to sell yourself short. It's too short and too precious and too exquisite to live in anything less than the true, infinite, overflowing, unconditional love in every area that's really available to you. So that's what I wish for you. And I invite you to step in and experience that for yourself more and more in every single moment. It's always available to you. So I look forward to seeing you soon. And as always, thank you so much for being here today. I love you.